Hello, people of the internet, this is Kaiju Noir here with a review for Tim Burton's Dark Shadows. This film was an adaptation of a soap opera that lasted from 1966 to 1971. And here with me I have Pamela.
Hello.
And for the first time here, my sister, Victoria.
Hello.
So this is the latest of a long line of Johnny Depp and Tim Burton collaborations, as they have both worked on films such as Ed Wood, Edward Scissorhands, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Sweeney Todd. And I think, Dark Shadows makes this the 8th film that they have all worked on. I guess I can speak for the rest of us here that we are big fans of Tim Burton's movies. Wouldn't you say, Victoria?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like his movies.
Tim Burton has been he's been one of my favorite directors, and Johnny Depp is one of my favorite actors, and I love Helena Bonham Carter too. I think they make a great team, and I love the quirkiness and the dark humor and just like the whole kind of gothic fantasy romance that they make. I think it's very creative, and I just love it a lot.
This whole gothic style, dark humor has been very persistent in all of Tim Burton's films. What films would you say you guys have liked from him?
Definitely The Nightmare Before Christmas. That's my all-time favorite movie. I watch it all the time. I love Jack and Sally. I love the whole concept and the whole background, and I love how it all came from the mind of Tim Burton. I also love Beetlejuice. I love Sweeney Todd. I know everything, especially when Johnny Depp has been in it. I think they're just, like I said, they make an excellent team, and I always hope to see more for them.
And as for you, Pamela, what Tim Burton films would you say you have enjoyed a lot?
I think my favorite movie that he made is Beetlejuice. I really like the story.
So the story to Dark Shadows is that Barnabas Collins' family owns a very large fishing business, and he has an affair with a maid named Angelique, and he sadly breaks up with her, and she does not like that at all. So because she just so happens to be a witch, she has Barnabas's parents killed. She makes Barnabas's fiancée kill herself, and finally she turns Barnabas himself into a vampire. She then gets the whole village to lock up Barnabas for almost 200 years. We then cut to 1972, where Barnabas is accidentally freed by a group of construction workers, and he then realizes that he is in the year 1972, where he now must help his family make his fishing business strong once again. However, the witch Angelique not only still lives in the town that Barnabas lives in, she's also the owner of the same business that made the Collins fisherman's business go to ruins. So when it comes to the story, what would you guys think of it?
I think it's it's very funny, lots of dark humor and lots of funny moments. I think it's good for anybody who loves a good dark humor movie. Johnny Depp is once again amazing. He finally played a vampire, and I'm a huge fan of vampire movies, and I've been just waiting for him and Tim Burton to create a vampire movie, and having Helena Bonham Carter in it, of course. And I also loved how one of the main characters' names was Victoria, because that's my name, and it also amused me how they both fall in love with each other. So yeah, I do recommend it to anyone.
Right, so in this film there is a tutor who's named Victoria, and she's the character that Barnabas Collins falls in love with. And as for you, Pamela, what did you like about the film?
I really liked the concept how Barnabas fell in love with Victoria, because I don't know, there was love at first sight when he saw her.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked that. And I also liked that it was comedy and it was funny.
I really enjoyed the premise of this film because I feel like Tim Burton, he's a person with a lot of creative ideas, And of course, as Victoria said, he and Johnny Depp make like the perfect team. Although I'm pretty because Dark Shadows was adapted from a TV series, a soap opera, I feel like perhaps fans of the soap opera might not like what Tim Burton did to it, because the soap opera was taken very seriously for the most part, and this one is treated more as a dark comedy. However, none of us have seen the Dark Shadows soap opera. Neither have we seen the 90s remake of the show. However, as a movie itself, I would definitely say it's very enjoyable. So as for the characters, as I've said before, we have Johnny Depp as the vampire Barnabas Collins. We have Michelle Pfeiffer as Elizabeth Collins, who is like the family matriarch. And also I think this is the first film that the first Tim Burton film that Michelle Pfeiffer has been in, since she played Catwoman in Batman Returns. We also have Eva Green as Angelique, the jealous psycho witch who's still trying to get back at Barnabas for dumping her.
She really played the Catwoman in Batman?
Yeah, she was Catwoman.
Because she looks great for her age.
I know.
She looks really good.
It's like Michelle Pfeiffer, Madonna, Tom Cruise, and like everyone else in Hollywood who's like over 50. It's like they're like immortal.
Yeah, but I think Madonna looks the best though.
Yeah.
Coming from a huge Madonna fan, I just had to say that.
We also have Jackie Earle Haley as Willie, the caretaker. Yeah, for those who don't know, Jackie Earle Haley, not only was he the new Freddy Krueger from the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot, he was also Rorschach from Watchmen. And I loved Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach, easily one of my favorite movie superheroes. And I was kind of disappointed that Jackie Earle Haley did not have a lot to do in this film. I feel like he could have been used more. We also have Johnny Lee Miller as Roger Collins, who is Elizabeth's brother. And like Jackie Earle Haley, Johnny Lee Miller doesn't really have a lot to do in this film. We have Bella Heathcote as Victoria Winters, who we have said before is Barnabas' love interest. We also have Helena Bonham Carter as Dr. Julia Hoffman, who is the family psychiatrist, who usually deals with most of her problems through alcohol. Again, like Victoria said, she's very funny, and she's very enjoyable to watch on screen. And we also have cameos by Christopher Lee, who plays a fisherman, and Alice Cooper as himself. Now, for you guys, what you guys thought? Were there any characters that you liked? Were there any characters that you disliked in the film?
I enjoyed seeing Alice Cooper. I thought that was like a real treat, especially how Barnabas thought that he was an actual woman. That was really funny. I also enjoyed seeing Chloe Grace Moretz as Carolyn Stoddard. I thought like she was really cool, really funny, especially playing the like typical stereotype as like a rebellious teenage daughter.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot to mention that character. I'm not sure I enjoyed her as much as you did. Although I guess, well, for me personally, I think that she was just one of those characters that did not have enough time to shine. Well, for me personally.
I did like Chloe's. I liked her acting, and I really liked her character. I also liked the character of David Collins. Yeah, he had a sense of innocence in his character, and I also liked how he saw his mom's ghost, and I like the relationship of son to mom. Yeah.
For me personally, I definitely enjoyed Johnny Depp as the main character, Barnabas Collins. Johnny Depp, he really makes you believe that he was from the 18th century. I also liked Eva Green as Angelique. I thought she played a really great villain, and she really comes off as this psycho, jealous, stalker ex-girlfriend that I'm sure people have experienced in their lives. And I really like the interactions between Depp and Eva's characters. As for the rest of the cast, I felt like none of them had enough time to shine. None of them had enough. I feel like their characters had. I thought the characters were interesting, but they were never developed. Like, they would have several subplots involving Barnabas's interactions with each of the characters. Yet I feel like most of these subplots were either not developed very well or just dropped altogether. So when it came to the story, I felt like the story could have had more focus, dropping some of the subplots and focusing more on Barnabas and Angelique. Now, your final thoughts and scores for Dark Shadows?
I loved it. I would like 5 out of 5. I loved it, and I definitely recommend it to anybody, especially people who are a fan of Tim Burton or Johnny Depp, or people who just want to see like a good like comedy movie. I loved the whole vampire like background. I love the gothic dark humor. I love like Tim Burton again and Johnny Depp. They make like an incredible team, and I hope to see a sequel actually, because there have been like talks about a sequel. It has been like tossed around here and there, and there's even been rumors about actually like the films like adapting into a franchise, and I would really look forward to that. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Pamela, final thoughts?
I'll give the movie a 5 out of 5. I really loved everything about it. I loved the characters, like the plot, the like comedy, it has like a little bit of horror, and then it has like some romance, and I loved everything about the movie.
Mm-hmm. And as for me, I feel like with this film, Tim Burton had a really great premise. I was really into it during the first half of the film. But then I feel like later on during the second half of the film, it introduced a lot of ideas, but very late into the film. Now, for me personally, if you're going to introduce something at the end of the film, at least have some sort of build-up to it, and not just have it come off as a great surprise. You know, like, oh, this character happens to be this, or this thing suddenly happened to this character.
But again, you have to remember that it's a Tim Burton film, and everything's not as it seems, and everything is always going to be out of the ordinary. It's quirky, it's exciting, it's not, or like I said, it's not ordinary, and that's always Tim Burton's theme. Mm-hmm. So I for one loved it, mm-hmm. and I hope to see more of it.
Well, it seems like to me that while I do agree with you, it definitely has Tim Burton's style, the signature tropes that you usually see in his movies.
Randomness.
I feel like with this film, it's like Tim Burton had a really had a great premise. He showed to like his producers, like, okay, here's a movie about a vampire who was in the 18th century. Now he's in 1972, and he's trying to adapt to the time period. And his producer would be like, great, what happens next? And Tim Burton was probably like, I don't know, but I can make it up as we film.
I really doubt that that's what happened. Tim Burton has been in this business a long time, and I know he knows what he's doing. I really doubt that. I mean, if he didn't know what the movie was going to be about, if he didn't know the concept, if he didn't know what was going to happen, he wouldn't have never started filming anything. Mm-hmm. No director would start filming anything if they didn't know what was going to happen. I'm sorry, it's just common sense.
Yeah. Well, I know I enjoy the characters, but I felt like they didn't have enough screen time. I enjoy the interactions between Barnabas Collins and the characters that I mentioned. However, I feel like, a lot of these interactions, these relationships didn't really go nowhere. Either didn't really go nowhere or were not developed fully enough. And I would, as much as I love Tim Burton, I would have to give this film a 3 out of 5.
What?
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a really good movie. However, it's not a movie that I would be going back to as often as, say, Batman or Nightmare Before Christmas or Beetlejuice. It's good, but it's not as good as Tim Burton's other films.
It's my favorite movie.
If you're a fan of Tim Burton, definitely watch it. If you're a fan of dark humor, definitely go see it.
Just go watch it. It's pretty
Yes,
good.
Definitely. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm saying that, it's definitely worth watching, but not really worth watching it over and over again or buying it on DVD. Thank you, Victoria and Pamela, for joining me.
You're very welcome, and I can't wait for Dark Shadows to come out on DVD. I'll be the first to buy it.
You're welcome.
So until next time, everybody, take care.